Shalom, everyone. Thanks for joining me in another study through the book of Judges. If we don't learn from the errors of our forefathers, we will be destined to repeat the same mistakes, and it is never a good thing to do what's right in your own eyes, which is why we need to lean on the word of the Most High and the commandments of the Most High so that our path remains straight. As Proverbs says, the Torah is a light to your feet and a lamp to your path. So let's learn from people that succeeded and failed to do that very thing. So we're going to be picking it up from chapter 12 in Judges. I am going to be reading out of the TS 2009 if you would like to follow along. Let's just jump right into it and see what we can learn from the scriptures today. And the men of Ephraim gathered together and passed over towards Siphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you pass over to fight against the children of Ammon and did not call us to go with you? We are going to burn your house over you with fire." Jeez, seems a little excessive. And Jephthah said to them, "My people and I were in a great struggle with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, you did not save me out of their hands. And I saw that you would not save me. And I took my life in my hands and went over against the children of Ammon. And Yahuwah gave them into my hand. And why have you come up to me today to fight against me?" Jephthah then gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim because they had said, "You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim in the midst of Ephraim and in the midst of Manasseh." And Gilead captured the fords of the Jordan and faced Ephraim. And it came to be when the fugitives of Ephraim said, "Let me pass over," the men of Gilead said to him, "You are an Ephraimite." If he said no, then they would say to him, "Please say Shibboleth," and he would say Sibboleth. Right? Slight difference there. Shibboleth or Sibboleth, for he was unable to pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slew him at the fords of the Jordan. And at that time there fell 42,000 Ephraimites. Seems like a lot of death for just not really a fantastic reason, in my opinion. See how petty people can be? Just like children of Israel, the rest of the world. Not really a great reason to go to war with somebody, you know. Anyways, and Jephthah ruled Israel 6 years, and Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. And after him, Ibsan. By the way, again, I'm reading TS 2009, the transliterated names, so I am probably butchering them. Please forgive me, but it is what it is. So, anyways, where was I? And Ibsam of Bethlehem ruled Israel. Bethlehem. This is one of the problems with not understanding all of the transliterated names, which I don't. I don't have all the transliterated names down. And these are the actual names, right? I just know all the modernized versions of them. So, you know, that's what we're doing today, trying to learn them better. And Bethlehem ruled Israel. And he came to have 30 sons and 30 daughters. It's quite a family. He sent abroad and brought in 30 daughters for his sons, and he ruled Israel 7 years. Ibsam died and was buried at Bethlehem. And after him, Elon the Zebulunite ruled Israel, and he ruled Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Elon in the land of Zebulun. And after him, Abdon, son of Hillel the Pirathonite, ruled Israel. And he had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 young donkeys, and he ruled Israel 80 years. Another quite large family. Man, can you imagine those family gatherings? I don't know if I could remember everybody's name. And Abdon, son of Hillel the Parathonite, died and was buried in Parathon in the land of Ephraim in the mountains of the Amalekites. Chapter 13. And again the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. No! Why? We knew it was coming. But I just hate to keep reading it, you know. They did good for a little while, and then the one guy that was really good died, and then they just went back to evil again. It is so like, it's just a roller coaster, you know. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? And nothing's changed since then. Right? Nothing's changed since then. And again, the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. So Yahweh gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. Right? Time of judgment and testing. And there was a certain man from Sora of the clan of Danites, whose name was Manoah. And his wife was barren and had not borne. And a messenger of Yahweh appeared to the woman and said to her, "See now, you are barren and have not borne, but you shall conceive, and you shall bear a son. And now, please guard, and do not drink wine or strong drink, and do not eat any unclean food. For look, you are conceiving and bearing a son." Rich, by the way, real quick here, I want to stop on this one, and I did not do my due diligence here and look in the manuscript before this study on this part. So when it says unclean food here, remember there's a difference between like unkosher and like unclean, like food you shouldn't eat and food you're forbidden to eat, right? So there is a difference in the words. I'm not sure which one that is, but if we're all being honest, I don't find it hard to believe that they were like, forget the dietary laws. Like, they were doing way, way wicked stuff, right? Like, they keep doing it. So I don't find it hard to believe that they would have been like, forget the dietary laws, like the Christians are doing, right? Well, we don't have to. We can eat whatever we want, right? So I don't doubt that it's possible that everyone in Israel was not keeping, the biblical food laws. So there is a possibility that this is talking about the unclean food as in like things that you shouldn't eat, like for instance, an animal that's died of itself, right? You're not supposed to eat that. It could be a clean animal, a kosher animal, like a cow, but if it dies of itself, right, you're not supposed to eat that, and that could be like unclean, but that's not the same as eating something that the Most High says is for lack of a better term, not kosher. Like, this is not food. So, interesting thing to look into right there. But again, wouldn't shock me if they just threw the dietary laws to the wind at this point in Judges. But either way, he's telling her, make sure you watch what you're eating, right? Bearing a son, and let no razor come upon his head, for the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb on, and he shall begin to save Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, "A man of Elohim came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of a messenger of Elohim, very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not declare to me his name. And he said to me, see, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and now drink no wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean food. For the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb, from the day of his to the day of his death." And Manoah prayed to Yahweh and said, "O Yahweh, please let the man of Elohim whom you sent come to us again and teach us what to do for the youth who is to be born." And Elohim listened. By the way, you can find the Nazarite vow in Numbers chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken. Might be Numbers chapter 6. I always get them mixed up. Let me look real quick just so that I'm not leading you in the wrong direction. Definitely one of those chapters. All right, let me see here. We're in Numbers. The Nazarite vow. Numbers chapter 6. Okay, Numbers chapter 6. My bad. It is Numbers chapter 6 where you find the Nazarite vow. And Elohim listened to the voice of Manoah, and the messenger of Elohim came to the woman again, and she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman ran hurriedly and informed her husband and said to him, "See, he has approached to me, the man who came to me the other day." And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man. And he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." And Manoah said, "Now let your words come true, what is to be the rule for the youth's life and his work." And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manoah, "Let the woman guard all that is said to her. Let her not eat any food that comes from the vine." We talked about that in the Nazarite vow. "Neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean food. Let her guard all that I have commanded her." And Manoah said to the messenger of Yahweh, "Please let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you." And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I do not eat your food. But if you offer an ascending offering, offer it to Yahweh." For Manoah did not know he was a messenger of Yahweh. Then Manoah said to the messenger of Yahweh, "What is your name? When your words come true, then we shall esteem you." And the messenger of Yahweh said to him, "Why do you ask me my name, since it is wondrous?" And Manoah took the young goat with the and gotta see some correlation there with this. Might very well be Yeshua popping up in the past, like the messenger of Yahweh. Like we know from Luke and just common sense that he is all over the scriptures. I think Abraham knew Yeshua. I think Moses knew Yeshua. I think David knew Yeshua, and I think this could possibly be Yeshua coming to them about Samson. Just throwing it out there. Could be wrong. It could just be an angel, a great angel. Who knows? But very possibly our Messiah all throughout history. So very cool to think about. And Manoah, verse 19, and Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it upon the rock to Yahweh, and he did wondrously while Manoah and his wife looked on. And it came to be, as the flame went up towards the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yahweh went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. And the messenger of Yahweh did not appear any more to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was a messenger of Yahweh. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall certainly die, because we have seen Elohim." Very interesting. And remember, we can get into so many debates about, the preeminence of Yeshua versus the Most High. Like, we know Yeshua has a father. I believe Yeshua was there in the very beginning with the Most High making creation, right? But we know there is a father, we know there is a son, and Yeshua is God. He's just not God in the sense of the Trinity, right? But I don't want to take away from him any greatness either, right? I just know he's not the Father. He says it himself, right? The Father is greater than I. The Father is my God also, right? And the Torah, the law, came from our Heavenly Father. And Yeshua is that word made flesh. He's perfection turned into a person, right? And he is our God, right? Make no mistake about that. He is a God. He is to be honored. And this is why they said that, right? They knew it was a messenger of Yahweh, but they said, because we have seen Elohim, we've seen God, right? So there's, again, I'm not going to get into all the debates and opinions that people have on this matter, but in my opinion, that was Yeshua that came down. He was the messenger of Yahweh, and he's the one that they call God here. So, and if you really think about it, if you really want to boil it down, if Yeshua is the Word of God made flesh, then you absolutely saw God in a person, right? You absolutely saw him, because it's all of the essence and substance of the Most High and his way put into a person right before you. And that's why Yeshua said, why do you ask me about God, right? You've seen him, right? So New Testament stuff, Old Testament stuff, really kind of coming hand in hand here, in my opinion. But anyways, verse 23. But his wife said to him, if Yahweh had been pleased to put us to death, he would not have accepted an ascending offering and a grain offering from our hand, nor would he have shown us all this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this. So the woman bore a son and called his name Shimshon. Shimshon. It's Samson, but Shimshon in the transliteration. Samson's easier to say than Shimshon. Shimshon. All right, anyways. And the child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. And the spirit of Yahweh began to move him at Menanadan, between Sora and Eshtaol. All right, chapter 14. All right. And Shimshon went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. And he went up and informed her, his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines, and now take her for me for a wife. But his father and mother said to him, is there no woman among the daughters of your brothers or among all of my people that you should take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines, right? And this is the beginning of the downfall here, right? How a woman takes out the strongest man that ever lived in the Bible, right? Possibly just strongest man ever. But right, it talks about in the Torah not taking foreign wives and how they turn your heart away from the Most High. And right, we can again spiral off into many debates about, well, what does that mean for us today? But we grew up in Babylon, right? My wife's walking in the way. I'm trying to walk in the way. We're doing our very best here. So I don't think you should, put your wives away because, her heritage is from, Indians or Spanish or whatever, So stay with the woman you married, right? And you both just walk in the way, right? That's the goal here. But back in the day when there were clear, divided lines about these are the people of Yah, these are not the people of Yah, we shouldn't have taken a wife from those people, because they always turn your heart away from the Most High to the ways of the nations, and we're gonna see that happen. So anyways, and Shimshon said to his father, take her for me, for she is pleasing in my eyes. However, his father and mother did not know that it was of Yahweh that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines were ruling over Israel. Then Shimshon went down to Timnah and his father and mother, and came to the vineyards of Timnah, and saw a young lion roaring as it met him. And the spirit of Yahweh came mightily upon him, and he tore it apart as the tearing apart of a young goat, with naught in his hand. Think about that. Have you ever been to the zoo? Have you seen a lion? I literally can't imagine a person just ripping a lion apart like they're a little house cat, and you're just that is beyond any strength of humans, in this day and age, at least naturally anyways. Who knows what genetic weird stuff they're doing to people, but conversation for another time. Anyways, he was strong. He was definitely strong. I would not ever want to mess with a lion. And he just was like, boop, you're nothing. But he did not make known to his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down and spoke to the woman, and she pleased Shimshon well. And when he returned later to take her, he turned aside to look at the carcass of the lion, and saw a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took some of it in his hand and went along eating. And he came to his father and mother and gave them, and they ate. But he did not make known to them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So here's where we can get into a little bit of speculation about this situation. The angel, right, told his mother and father not to eat anything unclean, right? Which this makes me think it's not the unkosher, but the unclean, because, honey is totally clean, totally okay to eat, obviously, right? But lion is not. And I don't know why, I guess bees make hives in all kinds of weird places. But if they had made it in the lion, right, the honey is still, technically okay to eat, but it's surrounded by uncleanness, like the rotting carcass of a lion. So I think that could really fall into that category of this has tainted this food. Even though this food is kosher, right, it is unclean. And that's basically, I think, what that's getting at with what he told his mother, right? Like, it's possible that he was eating, kosher his whole life and not breaking the dietary laws. But this whole situation of clean honey inside an unclean lion makes the food a little bit, possibly tainted here. Obviously, it's something he shouldn't have done. So we get to this whole unclean aspect of the food. Verse 10. So his father went down to the woman, and Shimshon gave a feast there, for young men used to do so. And it came to be, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Shimshon said to them, "Please let me put forth a riddle for you. If you clearly solve and explain it to me within the 7 days of the feast, then I shall give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of garments. But if you are unable to explain it to me, then you shall give me 30 linen shirts and 30 changes of garments." And they said to him, "Put forth your riddle and let us hear it." And he said to them, "Out of the eater came forth food, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And for 3 days they were unable to explain the riddle. And it came to be on the 7th day that they said to Shimshon's wife, 'Entice your husband to explain the riddle to us, or else we burn you and your father's house with fire. You have invited us in order to take what is ours, is it not?' And Shimshon's wife wept before him and said, 'You only hate me and do not love me. You put forth a riddle to the sons of my people, but you have not explained it to me.' And he said to her, 'Look, I have not explained it to my father or my mother, and should I explain it to you?' And she had wept before him for 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to be on the 7th day that he informed her, because she pressed him so much. She then explained the riddle to the sons of her people." A whole mess of stuff that we could get into here. First, really, she should have just talked to her husband. And probably, I would assume at this point, she'd realize that he's massively strong and can hold his own. I would think. Maybe not. But in a good relationship, right, you'd be honest. You'd say, "Hey, these people said they're going to burn down my parents' house and they're going to kill us if you don't do this." Right? These people are threatening me. So instead of just being honest up front, like, this spirals out of control, right? And then you see this part where she presses him. She keeps on nagging at him until he just cracks. And he's like, "Okay, I've had enough," right? Women, perhaps a good lesson to be learned here for you. Maybe constantly nagging your husband's not always the best choice for getting what you want, right? Just saying, right? And again, men, same thing. I don't know too many naggy men, but right, don't press on your husband like that. Don't conduct your marriages like this, right? Be honest with one another, like, have each other's back, right? Like, we're supposed to be, each other, like the completing member of each other, right? Like, women are supposed to compliment men, and men are supposed to compliment their women, and right. And when that works, when we are actually doing it how the Most High set that up, boy, is it special. It is a special thing. But all of this going in the wrong direction right out of the gate. Anyways, she pressed him. She then explained the riddle to the sons of her people. And the men of the city said to him on the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you have not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle. Right? So he understands what's going on here. Then the Spirit of Yahuwah came upon him mightily, and he went down to Ashkelon and struck 30 of their men, stripped them, and gave the changes of garments to those who had explained the riddle. And his displeasure burned, and he went back up to his father's house, and Shimshon's wife was given to his companion who had been his friend. All of this spiraling in a bad direction. But let's call it here for right now, and Yah willing, we'll pick it up in chapter 15 next week. So again, if you guys want to reach out to me, you know how to get a hold of me. A lot of food for thought in these chapters as well, like things that can affect us today, here and now, right? They have a lot to learn from in these chapters. So let's reflect on it for the next week. Yah willing, next week we'll get back into it. Again, I apologize that I've not been on a good schedule with these lately, but I'm going to try to, as best as I can, I'm going to try to get them out weekly. Please bear with me if it's not every week. Do have a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to find time sometimes, but I do want to get through this study. It's been really good, a lot to learn from, and we're gonna pick it back up from Samson and what's going on with all this next week, Yah willing. So anyways, if you want to reach out to me, you know how to get a hold of me. Other than that, I pray that the Most High blesses you and keeps you and makes his face to shine upon you and is gracious to you and lifts up his countenance upon you and gives you wonderful peace. In the name of our Messiah, Yeshua. I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed rest of your week. Like I said, if you need anything, reach out to me. And other than that, Yah willing, I hope to see you next week.